The Savage Speeders are synonymous with success. They won the first ever Marble League back in 2016, and since then have only placed outside the top 2 once in their history, and that one time was a 5th place finish. For reference, there are 6 active teams who have never appeared at 5th or higher in the standings. But they started the Marble League off in last place after 2 events, and many were already writing them off for the year. But there's a common phrase that you should never forget, and that's to never count out the Savage Speeders. The Savage Speeders just came off a win in Marbula 1, and they did it in a dramatic way, as Speedy won the gold medal in the final event to complete the comeback. So momentum was definitely on their side coming into the qualifiers, with one article saying, quote, "They will definitely qualify, there's no doubt about that." And the Speeders would go on to fulfill that expectation and some. They started off with a bronze in balancing, and were one of 7 teams to have 2 marbles finish. It's a great start, and things would only improve. In the funnel endurance race, Wizzy managed to hang on for another top 8 finish, as the Savage Speeders took 6th place, and were only 4 points behind the Crazy Cat's Eyes in 1st. And in the next event, they would take that 1st place. The last event of the qualifiers was the 5-meter sprint, a Savage Speeder specialty. They sent in Swifty, who managed to grab the best time out of 20 marbles. The Speeders, who were already guaranteed to qualify before this event, asserted their dominance over the rest of the field. Swifty gave some insight on his gold medal win, saying, quote, "Coach quickly told me to give it my all, which confused me because we were already qualified. But I listened to her, and it totally paid off. I'm filled with confidence right now." 17 points was the deficit between the Savage Speeders and Crazy Cat's Eyes in 2nd. And all the expectations for the Speeders continued to grow, and many believed they would have an amazing start to the year. And, well, that didn't really happen. With their most recent victory, the Speeders were hyped up to have an amazing start. So, how was their start? Well, it was anything but amazing. The first event was balancing, and after scoring 372 points in the qualifiers and finishing 3rd, the Speeders scored 139 points less than that and finished in 14th. It was a bad start, but this didn't dwindle their confidence. Speedy even said, quote, "This is a very humbling moment for us. Although it's a bad start, there's still 15 events to go. Don't write us off yet." And nobody was. Although it was a poor start, things can turn around, especially for a team of this caliber. The next event was the halfpipe, and they placed 2nd the first time they competed in this event in 2018. So confidence was high, but it wasn't enough. They were in a heat with the O-Rangers, and maybe they felt the tensions a little too much, as the Savage Speeders placed at an abysmal 15th place.
Very well for them. Look at the O-Rangers, 3 up top, slaloming in tandem, back and forth they come. And I would have to think that should be an easy victory for the O-Rangers. Oh my gosh, so good that it's actually another new Marble League record.
And now they were last. For the first time in their history, the Speeders were last. The media seemed to think the Speeders blew off all their steam in the qualifiers. And they were probably right. The Speeders needed to regroup. It also didn't help that their main rivals won a gold medal and took first place overall. They would place fairly well in the funnel endurance, as they won a bronze medal, and they rose to 11th overall. But things, once again, kept going downhill in the Newton's cradle. They actually got a 99.8 to start off, and with 4 marbles to go, chances were pretty high that they were going to finish in the top half. But then every single duo surpasses their total, meaning they placed 9th overall, and were 51 points behind the leading O-Rangers. 51 points. Remember that number, because it's only going to shrink from here. Coach quickly released a press statement before the next event, and it was pretty long, so we'll just go over the last part, because I believe it's the most important part. Coach quickly said, quote, "We have the ability to turn this around. This team is full of star power. They just haven't shown their potential yet. The Marble League is only 25% done. There's still a lot more to go, and we plan to get better." Speeders fans around the world praised this statement from Coach Quickly, and the Speeders did actually get better. Velocity was chosen to jump for the Savage Speeders, a bit of a surprise considering he hasn't been in that many individual events, but Velocity showed that he is still able to perform up to standards. His jump placed him 4th overall, and for the first time this season, the gap between the Speeders and 1st overall finally shrunk, as the gap was now 46 points, and they got out of the bottom 6 and resided at 9th place. The next event was the hurdles race, and boy, was this one a wild one. Swifty competed in the 4th heat to start, and the race was on.
Out of the gate. Savage Speeders up top. They lose out on 2nd place. Hazer's trying to make a climb for it. Watch at the bottom, though. Who's actually going to get it on top there? It could be Savage Speeders. Where did that speed come from at the end? Hazers.
A 3-way photo finish determined the winner of the heat and who advanced. And the Speeders snatch 2nd place away from the Hazers. Now on to the semifinal. Swifty was pretty nervous going into this one as he faced Razzie, the marble that just broke the hurdles record. But he managed to qualify for the finals in 2nd place, behind Razzie, who once again broke the record.
They had a little burst of speed. They're slowing down, but they're neck and neck so far. Raspberry Racers are going to get across, and they've reset the record.
Now the finals. The Speeders started great, but when the hurdles hit, it was too much, and Swifty was unable to challenge for gold as he grabbed a bronze. This is a good thing though, and it moved the Speeders up 2 more positions into the top half of the standings. And now, the Speeders were down only by 39 points. With 10 events to go, it wasn't crazy to say the Speeders could make a comeback. But the next 2 events proved to be costly. That's right, our favorite O-Bros are back. After some quiet events, the O-Rangers were due for a podium finish, and it's exactly what they got, as they earned a bronze medal in block pushing.
Taking the block in the lane, using that 4th anchor marble to give that final extra distance. Raspberry Racers at the bottom looking a little bit disjointed.
This was bad news for the Savage Speeders, because if the top team keeps finishing above them, the gap will only increase. And this time, it increased only a little, to 41 points. Ironically, this was the exact lead the Speeders had over the O-Rangers at one point. Funny how history just repeats itself. Anyways, the Speeders placed 4th, so they were keeping it really close, but they would keep it less close in the next event. The triathlon featured a sand portion, a track portion, and water portion, and Rapidly was chosen to race, and he did well in the first heat as he advanced to the semifinals in another photo finish.
Side by side, well spread out at that as we look underneath. This is a very close battle for 2nd place. Momo is going to win, but who will get 2nd? Mellow Yellow is not going to catch up, so it's going to be the Savage Speeders. Just a couple of tenths at most in front of the
But the next race wasn't very good,
holding the lead.
and rapidly placed 3rd. Good enough for 7th overall, but not good enough to advance. While the Rangers managed to grab another bronze medal, but it very well could have been gold. But luckily for the Speeders, Origin was passed in the water part by the Hazers and Team Momo.
Make a move for the lead. Momo is going to try their same draft. They do. They close up almost too quickly. But now they can make a move for the lead. And they do. Everybody is right up there. The Hazers shoulder on through and will get the goal.
Bad news, though, is that the Rangers were now leading by 47 points over the Speeders, who had fallen to 8th. Luckily, the Rangers did pretty bad in the next event, while the Speeders placed 4th, again, and the gap was back down to 39. Even though the gap was shrinking, most were already writing off the Speeders as contenders, and they mainly focused on the Minty Maniacs and Rangers, which is kinda weird to me. Anything can happen with 7 events to go. All the Speeders needed was a few finishes above the Rangers to close the gap. And during the next 3 events, that's exactly what they got.